Welcome to OKState Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in. This podcast dedicated to the men's basketball team who went on the road, played good in certain situations, shot the ball okay, did okay again on the offensive end, had some decent individual performances, but simply put, just turned the ball over way too many times. Had more turnovers in the first half than they did made shots. Anytime you go on the road against a ranked team, Texas Tech's really good. They're projected to be like a 5 seed, something like that. Pretty much for Oklahoma State, the way that they are right now, the formula would have to be that all the good has to happen and you have to eliminate the bad. So if there's any kind of bad whatsoever with this Oklahoma State team, which was the turnovers, and then in the first half, it was the offensive rebounding for Texas Tech. Oklahoma State gave up way too many second chance points on offensive rebounds for Texas Tech, and then just simply turned the ball over and did not assist the ball very well. They did not have very many assists. So although there was some good action to it, Bryce Thompson had his I believe, 6th double-digit scoring game in a row, third or fourth in a row where he scored at least 15 points. Abu Usman was in double digits again. And then Arturo Dean hit 11 points as well and led the Cowboys back in. OSU showed life after they got way down. OSU, it kind of teeter-tottered. The Cowboys played pretty good early, and they were scoring, and they were keeping up with Texas Tech. And then just kind of like in the Arizona game, with about a minute left, maybe 2 minutes left in the first half, OSU let Texas Tech leak out and then just came out of the second half locker room and did not play very well at all and lost a 10-point decision on the road to Texas Tech to move to 10-9 overall and 2-5 in Big 12 conference play. And it did not get off to a good start. Again, another part of the formula, you have to have all the good, none of the bad. Especially this team really, really needs to get off to a good start, especially on the road, and the opposite of that happened. This is a team, to me, there's just so many new parts to it and so many pieces that Coach Lutz is trying to mesh together. They're fine for a while, then it just seems like when adversity hits, it's not that there's not any toughness and grit in these guys, it's just that they don't really know who or what it is they need to rely on to stop the runs of other teams. Like whenever this team needs a bucket, who do you give the ball to? What set do you run? What type of shot do you get? I think we saw the other day that the Cowboys tried to dump it down to Abu Usman and let him try to have the answer buckets. But although he scored pretty good, he had 3 or 4 turnovers. I know he got frustrated with the officials. He felt like he got fouled a couple times. Then he missed a really easy one when Oklahoma State was down 5. That would have pulled them back within 3 after they had made the late run with Arturo Dean. Would have got back to 3. Instead, he misses a little bunny shot, and then Texas Tech goes down, hits a 3-pointer, goes back up 8. So I think Abu Usman and just kind of feeding him the ball was the attempted answer to some of the Tech runs, at least in the second half. It didn't happen enough, and the Cowboys lost a little bit too much distance, certainly at the beginning of the second half, and then after they got it back within 3, lost distance again. But Texas Tech hit the first 4 3-pointers of the game, scored the first 12 points of the game, and took a lead almost immediately. Well, not almost. They took a lead immediately. The lead was 16-7 by the time the game was a little bit over 5 minutes old. So OSU was down almost double digits, little over 5 minutes into the game, and that's not a good recipe for a team that's searching for confidence to start that way on the road. And then Oklahoma State, to give OSU credit, regrouped, came back, and went on a little 12-5 run after Texas Tech took that early lead, hit the early 4 3-pointers, and went on a 12-5 run, outscored Texas Tech by 7 points over the next 4.5 minutes, and pulled within 21-19 late in the first half, and then actually pulled within 1 at 24-23 late in the first half as well, and then let Texas Tech go on an 11-2 run. That's the thing about this team. This team can go on runs of its own, but then it'll go on droughts. While it goes on droughts, it just seems like while they're going on droughts, they're giving up wide open 3-pointers, they're giving up cutters to the bucket, they're fouling, and they give up runs on the other side, especially defensively. And they gave up an 11-2 run after pulling within 1 to go down 12. And so when it was all said and done at halftime, OSU was down 10 points. It got worse from there, although there were some good parts. We mentioned OSU shot 50% in the first half, 10 to 20 shooting, but had 11 turnovers. So 10 made shots, 11 turnovers in the first half. That's not going to do it against this team. Isn't good enough at all the strength aspects of it. So when your weaknesses are that bad, whenever you have more turnovers than you have made shots, that's not going to work for Oklahoma State. OSU did out-rebound Texas Tech 16-13 in the first half, but gave up 6 offensive rebounds. And it wasn't necessarily the number of offensive rebounds, it was how they happened. OSU, I think, was down 3 at the time, and Texas Tech missed 2 shots on the same possession. Missed a shot, got an offensive rebound. Missed another shot, got an offensive rebound. Had 3 shots in one possession, and finally nailed a 3 in the corner to extend their lead. Those types of possessions, really that one I can think of, really just come back to haunt OSU. So the 6 offensive rebounds, not good, but it was more the timing and the way that Texas Tech was able to score off of those offensive rebounds. Abu Usman was the leading scorer in the first half with 8, but again, he missed 3 out of his 5 free throws. This is a team that has no margin for error. The freebies have to go in. They have to make the free throws. And when they get easy shots, they have to make them. Those are 2 things this team hasn't always done, because there's already enough difficulty in the way this team plays. When you finally do get something easy, you got to put it on the board. You can't miss free throws. You can't miss easy shots like Abu Usman did. So I love Abu. He's been a great player. I'm so glad that he's here. But you got to call a spade, right? And you got to make free throws. You got to make your bunnies. That's been a problem for this team throughout the year. The Cowboys did put a good effort there in a comeback attempt, and they trimmed, like I said, a 16-point lead. The lead ballooned up to 16 for Texas Tech when it was 45-29, 13-10 left. I was thinking, okay, well, it's Sunday afternoon. The wrestlers are getting ready to come on. I've got all sorts of stuff I need to be doing for my Dodgers Daily site. The NFL playoffs are on. Man, as diehard as I am, do I really want to watch the last part of this game, being down 16-13, a little over 13 minutes to go, and then got it all the way down to 3 points. Went on a run. Arturo Dean got hot. Bryce Thompson played great offense, and you looked up and you're like, hey, man, it's 52-49 with 5:09 left. I mean, there was still plenty of time left in the game when Oklahoma State pulled within 3, but that comeback fell short. OSU did show some life, though, and coming back 2 different times. They got down to 12-0, came back with the early run, got down 16 points, came back in the second half. So they made 2 runs, 2 different times, showed that there is some life in this team. But again, whenever you get yourself down in those types of holes, this isn't a team that, so whenever you're making that comeback, it's kind of like getting to the top is easier than staying on top. So when you make that comeback, it takes so much positive margin for error and then just so much energy. It's hard to maintain that, as we see. So it's just devastating for this team to get in those kind of holes, especially 16-point leads with deficits with a little over 13 minutes to go. Just simply too much to overcome. And if they do finally make up all those points, it's hard to maintain to stay there. Texas Tech had 11 points off of OSU turnovers in the first half. Then they added 10 second chance points in the second half. So 21 points for Texas Tech. 21 points off of turnovers. This Oklahoma State team struggles to play defense enough against the longer teams. Definitely can't give the other team 21, basically just free points off of turnovers. So the Pokes were a lot better on the defensive end on the glass in the second half. We mentioned one of the big issues was the offensive rebounding for Texas Tech. In the first half, the OSU did a lot better job in the second half. Just 1 offensive rebound for Texas Tech. So you can see there are some bright spots. OSU shot the ball well. They showed life with the 2 runs they went on. They cleaned up the defensive rebounding issues in the second half. They shot 45% from the floor. But then again, going to say it again, the weak points were just way too weak. How about this? 9 assists, 22 turnovers. I don't care how good you are. Eddie Sutton's Final Four teams If they had 9 assists and 22 turnovers, they weren't going to win. So this team needs to share the ball. We hear Coach Lutz say it on all of his post games. They need to take care of the basketball. They need to share the basketball, and they need to clean up all of the negative aspects of what they're doing to where they're minimized enough to where the good things they're doing, like the shooting, like the cleaning up, the defensive rebounding, those kinds of things, so they can actually matter on the scoreboard for OSU. So Bryce Thompson had another good game, scoring 17. Arturo Dean had 11, and Abu Usman was in double digits as well. So Oklahoma State again moved to 10-9 on the season, 2-6 in conference play. I think I said 2-5 earlier. Actually 2-6 in conference play. And if you remember, one of the 2 wins was against K-State at home. K-State has a chance at revenge Wednesday night. Oklahoma State's going to the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas, where they will take on the K-State Wildcats. And again, that is Wednesday night.